What's good? I'm Kinell, and this is Sinister Cinema, where we get deep into the guts of the stranger side of cinema. Just letting you know with this little bit at the start that we now have a Patreon. Sub up to that, and you can get all these episodes early and ad-free, so you won't even see this bit at the start. You get them a few days before the main episodes drop out. We've got some great guests coming up. We've got some studio episodes. We've got some Zoom episodes with some fantastic rappers talking about the films they love and the films that influenced them. We got a lot going on there. Plus, you get some bonus content like film reviews, all that kind of thing. I don't need to explain this to you. You know what a Patreon is. But yeah, it's patreon.com/Kinell Sinister Cinema. So check that out. Peace. Yes, people. What's good? I'm Kinell, and this is Sinister Cinema, where we get deep into the guts of the stranger side of cinema. Kinell Sinister Cinema is brought to you by Forgotten Sons Apparel. Check them out at forgottensonsapparel.co.uk. Forgotten Sons Apparel is a York-based streetwear brand drawing inspiration from alternative culture, tattoos, film, classic TV and cartoons from our childhood. In our own words, if you like our stuff half as much as we do, then we like it twice as much as you. I'm a big fan of this brand, and I love the guys who make it. They've supported me for years, way before I was podcasting. They supported me in my battle rap career. You might have seen me rocking some of their garms on Don't Flop and other leagues. I love Forgotten Sons Apparel, and I'm urging you all to check them out at forgottensonsapparel.co.uk. Right, now on with the show. Hey, what's good? Kinell from the KSC, been drinking in the sun, and my forehead is literally luminous. It is shining, it is glowing, there are sparks coming off it. My forehead has seen more sun in the last few hours than it has seen in the last couple of decades. It's a lot of outside, but I'm here for it, and I am feeling it. Hey, we got a cracking one today, obviously. You've seen the little advert for the Patreon, or you might even be on the Patreon if you're watching this early. But I've got to shout out and let you know that I have just done an exceptional battle with the legend, former guest of the show, Ghast Buff. He put in a career performance. We did an all horrorcore bars battle for Don't Flop April Fools. And you can catch that and the whole of the, one of those days events where I battled Danny Jack the other week in Battersea. You can catch all of that for a £5 sign up to the Don't Flop Patreon. So yeah, do that. But yeah, okay, today we're going to crack on with doing some of this podcasting shit that I claim to do, but I'm terrible at. But so sometime, a lot of the time on here, people I get are like people that, my mates anyway. And sometimes I've just got to get someone on that I don't really know, but I just rate them so highly from hearing them talk that I just want to talk to them because they're obviously cool people. And that is one of these. Welcome, Mr. Am I pronouncing this right? Is it DeVaughn Taylor? We hitting the Vaughn hardest.
Yes, sir. DeVaughn. Yeah, drop the all, but see, you don't seem to have a problem with that. People in America have a weird problem with that. Like, I get DeVaughn a lot, and I'm like, no, drop it down. It's DeVaughn. Yeah, you said it. You got it.
Hey, excellent scenes. That's what I like to hear, man. You sort of appeared in like my sort of social media sphere and like the podcasts I follow recently, and I thought, yeah, this guy's cool as fuck. Like I first got onto you when you guested on Amber's podcast, Hornblood Fire.
Yes, love Amber.
Yeah, I followed your shit, Specter Cinema, off the back of it, and I've been deep diving into some of those episodes, some incredible episodes there, and you've just been popping up on all these cool other things that I listen to, like Halloweenies and that kind of shit. So fucking like I think the world is saying in 2023, people need to hear from DeVaughn.
Oh, thank you, my man. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm a podcast slut. I love popping around. I can't stop. Doing my podcast isn't enough. I love being able to go on to other shows, switching up the flavors a little bit, and just spreading the good word. I could do this. I can do this all day, and that'd be nice if I can eventually just become one of those people that just podcasts every day. That'd be pretty sick. So, but yeah, so I love popping on And you know, it's funny. I have, you know, way more you know, homies and friends on, you know, through the horror Twitter sphere than I do in real life. So that, like, that's the most of my like socialization as well, is like getting to do all these podcasts. But yeah, I love it. So I appreciate you inviting me on.
Yeah, I fully get that. Like, you know, it's like the whole thing with battle rap. It's like my people that I communicate with every day. Like, you know, they're not necessarily the people that are close to me physically. So I like to be able to create these opportunities. Like, you know, like go to events. Like it's good when you link up with people that you've communicated exclusively by vibe, just connected through the mass consciousness.
Oh
And
yeah, like and because I feel like, I mean, whenever I start seeing your stuff pop up, I was like, I don't really get to see a bunch of the horror hip hop crosshairs section. You know, there's not as many, so I was just like, he's a horror dude and he's a rap head, so I was like, I love
yeah.
this, and you know, getting to do my podcast and other ones too, like. I love getting like the international guests on too, you know, to be able to, you know, get totally different perspectives of outside my little American bubble. You know, I've had half the gals on Ghouls Magazine over on my pod, and they bring so much to it. So I love getting to have these across the pond meetings.
Yeah, exceptional scenes, mate. Exceptional scenes. And like we're not really very good at sticking to the actual theme that we pick on this fucking podcast, but we did pick a theme, and the theme for today is like a sort of the sort of Stephen King adaptation era.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would say we're in the thick of it, but we've always been in the thick of it. You know, he is like the single like most adapted author. You know, between his like, he has like plus like 75 novels, novellas, and like a shit ton of short stories, and like so many of those have already been adapted. Some of them have been adapted twice. Some like even right now, like on the in current development, there's like 20 of them, you know, coming. So it's like we've always been in the thick of it. I'd say like in the 80s, like when he was just popular, was like when people really started getting on board and trying to snatch up his manuscripts, and then now in this 2010s is where we've gotten a big push on it again. You know, kind of looking back on his career and then pulling out some of these like lesser known stories out of his bibliography. So you know, there's something about his storytelling that's so accessible to everyone, and it's kind of crazy how much he's affected the film world as an author. Because here's the thing, like I don't read his books. I've we did a whole Stephen King month on Specter Cinema, and the joke ended up being, and we still say this, you know, joke about this throughout episodes, is like, we don't read, you know, like we books, what are those? We care about the movies. But it's so interesting that him as an author has affected the horror cinema landscape in like such a tremendous way. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, like I think like when he first started popping, like because we had like the early ones, like there was The Carrie and The Shining, and they were like these big huge things that influenced things to these days. And the 80s was the period of like a fucking new Stephen King adaptation every month, and that was like when he was like really popping. And like flipping, like we've had that era popping, and I feel like what we're in now is the era of the people who grew up on the era of Stephen King popping like fuck.
Yeah, we're kind of maybe getting the again, like the filmmakers that, like, I know, I'm sure many of them are fans of his books, but I bet a lot of them are, like you said, were the ones that were watching these 80s adaptations. And you know, and you watch an adaptation, then you kind of think to yourself, like, you know, because I'm a aspiring filmmaker too, so like I'll be like watching something, I'm like, oh, what Stephen King movie would I make? You know, so I bet so many directors like kind of had that thought watching those like early 80s ones. And again, it's like kind of different because like at the time, that's when he was like, you know, he was just coming out, he was like the hot name and everything. So it was like they were adapting as he was writing, versus now we just we kind of get to see this big body of work that he's done. He's still writing, but like he's, you know, slowed down significantly. So now it's like kind of, you know, adapting him with this reverence of him being this, you know, horror icon now, versus like at the time it was like they were hopping on the train like, hey, this King guy, he's got something, let's get that one, like, you know. And Stephen King scripts started going around to like you know, save production companies and directors in certain senses. after the thing flopped, you know, people weren't you know, were concerned about John Carpenter. And then he was like, no, don't worry about me. He's like, so they offered him between Cujo and Christine to be like, hey, we need you to bring in some money. We need a hit here from you. So can you play with us? And he wasn't really super interested in doing adaptations, but he was like, all right, I'll do it. And then Christine ends up being, you know, in my opinion, one of his best films. So it's
Christine's
you
a
know,
fantastic film. I fucking have a lot of love for Christine. I recently went to a screening of it with the Evolution of Horror lot, and there was something that sort of clicked with me about Stephen King's like writing in that early period when he was popping. And it's that fucking every bully character is like the same guy, and it's clearly like based off someone that called like that like called him like some homophobic swear words in the 1950s. Like every fucking Stephen King bully is the same 1950s greaser. And
it's like they're that, and then they're also psychopaths. Like
yeah,
Stephen King bullies are like a different breed. That was like one of the like recurring motifs that we kept bringing up when we were talking Stephen King movies. Is like, yeah, he has these like psychopathic bullies that like kind of come up in all of his things, and that's the interesting with King too, is he's very formulaic. You know, he has his tropes and motifs that he likes to work with. He has his themes that he likes to work with, you know, setting them all in Maine. All the things like he very much has a system and a formula, and I think that's, you know, part of the reason he's been able to be as prolific as he is numbers wise. But it's also it serves as a nice little template, and you know, so
you know what you're getting.
Yeah. So like films, you already kind of have this layout of, you know, okay, like, you know, these are the beats that he's gonna hit, and then now let me just pick my supernatural horror twist that, you know, goes in with it, and then boom, you got a Stephen King story.
Yeah. Like flipping, like all his bullies were the same greaser, like, and like that dude was probably still alive during the boom period when like every month there was like a film coming out with something based on him. Like, and he's like 30 years old. I think I don't need this shit anymore. Please stop making films about me.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, he sees those paychecks and he's like, I mean, I think he's because I mean, I think at this point, like he pretty much will just say yes. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a big time director, if it's a small time director. He's like, oh, you want to do my work? Sure, yeah, pay me. Yeah, I got you. You know, he seems. I mean, he's, you know, and it's funny because he is very vocal about like, you know, the films that he likes, and then even vocal about, you know, when his books get adapted, and he'll always give his opinion or his endorsement. And you know, he's had his times where he like renounces them or like doesn't like the adaptation, you know. And you know, with The Shining with Stanley Kubrick, you know, he's notably like not a fan of Kubrick's The Shining, but he loves the TV version. You know, and he has no qualms about being like, all right, if you're gonna do it, like, then I'm gonna say my shit that I gotta say, you know, like I'm gonna give it to you straight. So I respect that from Mr. King.
Yeah, he will say what it is, like fucking. He will say his opinion, like fucking. Like personally, I'm more of a movie Shining than a book Shining guy. Flipping, I haven't read the book since I was a kid, but like I'm definitely a movie Shining guy more than the TV series guy.
Yeah, I mean, I've read some of King's short stories, but I have not read any of his novels. So I very much do am able to kind of come to these films with it just, you know, appreciate on the film aspect, and then I'll watch it, and then afterwards I'll like, you know, just do like the little quick Google and, you know, compare the plot synopsis and be like, okay, what changed? You know, I'll do that afterwards, but you know, not being a reader, I guess I'm not as attached to his work. Whenever I'm seeing adapted, I'm more intrigued in the premise of it all, like in the story in that angle.
Yeah, like his books are massive and all, like fucking like you know, I just see the side. I just see one of his books side on and think, I'm probably not going to manage that. Like, but that's I think that's what kind of like sort of makes the whole thing about it his adaptation so interesting, because you've got to condense a lot. So like that can go one or two ways. Like you've got you like people who are creating these projects are going in as like an editor.
Yeah, it's yeah. Yeah, the links are always I feel like maybe that is probably what intimidated me from never reading him when I was younger, because like I'm a good reader, but I'm a slow one. So
Mm,
when I see like big books, I get super intimidated. So I
mm,
think that might have been part of the reason. But it's funny, like you said, like because then when you're adapting his films, you gotta like condense so much, and it goes one or two ways. Because it's like if they adopt a novel, they're like trying to cut out a bunch of stuff,
yeah.
but then so many people always want to adapt to short stories, and a lot of issues with those adaptations is like, oh, there's not enough in the story to like kind of do here, and then now you're filling it in with
Mm,
the rest of it. So either way that they adapt it, you have to have like an interesting strategy of like, how much you're staying faithful to the book and how much you are adding into it yourself. And I feel like even though I think it would make more sense to kind of add more of yourself into these stories to like kind of separate them on your own, then that's when you run the risk of, going against the king purists and king himself.
yeah. Like like I found like when I was like sort of first getting into horror, like I got I want to ask a little bit about your backgrounds. Like what I found is like, well, like when you're a kid and all you know is like big franchise slashers, you also know that about King adaptations, and that's your like first point of reference when you're getting into horror and you're like renting films for the first time or like getting someone to rent them. Did you find you had a similar experience?
So yeah, I was kind of thinking back onto I was trying to think of which was my first Stephen King like movie that I saw, or like movie based off of one of his books. I think it was Cujo.
Mm.
I know my grandma had a copy of Cujo, and that one's not like super scary, but it's scary enough. But I remember my stepdad at the time. He was big into Stephen King and Dean Koontz. So
Mm.
I would always like see his books laying around, and I would never read them, but I would never like read them in their entirety, but like I would like randomly like flip through pages and just like kind of read random things, or like he had so many of them, so I could just like kind of sit there and like read the backs of them for a while. But he did have a copy of Nightmares and Dreamscapes, the collection
Mm.
of short stories, and I read quite a few out of there. But I would say, yeah, I think Cujo might have been the earliest, but I also remember it was like early 2000s, sci-fi was doing like an event for the double feature of the
Mm.
Langoliers and the Tommyknockers. Like they were both like two TV adaptations, and it was like they did like a whole event. They're like Stephen King double feature coming at you, and they like I remember them like hyping it up for like a long time, and we were all excited, and my stepdad was like excited for it, and he was we had the VCR and the blank tapes ready to go, so that way we could have them for later. And then both those movies are trash.
Yeah,
Like
man.
they're both so bad, and I remember him being so disappointed by it, like especially the Langoliers.
I seem to remember the first half of the Tommy Knockers having a really good ending that properly scared me.
Yes.
And then I watched the second half and it was dog shit. Like it was
Hmm.
there was a lot of those like 2-part miniseries, and they'd always have the
Yes.
best cliffhangers and the worst
Yes.
second episodes.
No, that is so true, because I do remember, yeah, the first half of the Tommyknockers was actually really good, and then the second half is just a total mess. But then the Langoliers, like the terrible like early 2000 CGI that they were using for it, like
Mm.
makes it look so weird. It's in vibe wise, it's not a bad movie. I know James Wan is apparently remaking Tommyknockers, but I'd like to see a more sci-fi leaning genre director take on the Langoliers, because it's an interesting concept, and like the idea of it is pretty terrifying. But like those early Sci-Fi Channel movies just didn't have the budget or skills behind it.
Yeah. Have you heard about Timekeepers of Eternity?
No, I haven't. What's that one? Is
Uh,
that a new one coming?
Well, this is one that was like it was on the last like virtual event they did for the Soho Horror Festival, like. But it's like it's a film that a dude has made by like cutting up the Langoliers, like kind of like fucking like sort of like sampling it and making his own film and like putting things in
Huh.
different orders and fucking with the visuals. And it's like he's made an art piece out of the Langoliers miniseries.
That's kind of cool. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out, because, like I said, like the premise of the Langoliers always
Yeah.
intrigued me.
Yeah.
So I love that. that could be its like own whole style and subgenre in the horror pocket, because like those sci-fi channel originals have such a specific aesthetic. So if people
Yeah.
started just doing that, like resampling these sci-fi movies, that's actually pretty funny.
This is it's kind of like how like sort of like the vaporwave videos like sort of like took like old like 1980s like McDonald's commercials or whatever and like sort of remix them. It's like he's done that for a whole film and he's done it with the Langoliers. Honestly, it's fire.
Oh man, how long is it? Feature like length, or did he cut it down like super short?
No, I think it's like about like 70 minutes or something. Like I think it's like
Okay,
it's a
so it's
very short film.
still technically feature. Got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you
So,
remember what your first one was?
what was my first one? I think it might have been. I think it might have been actually like not an adaptation as such, but I think it might have been Pet Sematary 2. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think I
'Cause,
saw Pet Sematary 2 before 1 also. I feel like a lot of people had that for some reason.
Yeah, it's because it had like Edward Furlong in it, like, and we'd all just like fucking like seen T2 and all that kind of thing was happening at the time. Like fucking that was my time of really getting into horror, because you know about Ghostwatch, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, fucking like I was 12 years old on the original Ghostwatch broadcast, and that was my introduction to horror. That thing I thought was fucking real. So like when I was
Mm.
12. So
Oh
like
yeah.
that shit fucked me up so much, and like that obviously like that because I was like always into spooky stuff. But like what you call it, like when I saw an actual horror experience that fucking terrified me, then I was like all in. And like the first things I gravitated towards were what you call it, like the franchises and Stephen King adaptations, because that was something I knew I'd seen. Like they always had like good covers, and like because of T2, I think like flipping Pet Sematary 2 was like popping as like a word of mouth thing.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, like thinking back as like a kid, kind of track them, because like as a kid, they were just like it kind of had the thing of it being a surprise, like Stephen King adaptation. Like those were the ones I like kind of I remember watching like as being younger, but then not knowing until later that like I like I didn't even know that the Green Mile was a Stephen King thing until like way later in life. I was like, holy shit, that's a Stephen King adaptation. So like I had seen that like at a fairly young, as well as like Dreamcatcher, and then being like, okay, because like sometimes he is mainly a horror guy, but like he does his like dramas and stuff like that as well, and is kind of dipped into sci-fi as well. And so, but because I never find any of them scary ever.
Yeah.
I don't think like I definitely get creeped out by a good amount of these films, but like for me it was always like I liked the just like kind of the uneasiness that he like kind of set with like kind of blurring the reality a little bit, because like it was always like him presenting you in like this very authentic small town thing. Like me being from the Midwest and the States, I always gravitate towards these like small town dramas. And then it's just always like, oh yeah, like the horror thing is always like the B or the C plot usually.
Yeah.
Like he spends so much time focusing in on the people and the area and the history and things like that. That the concepts and the premise like always kind of come a little bit later. But those are like the ones that like kind of that's what kind of hooks me into the movie. And then I end up watching a movie and I'm like, oh, I didn't really care for the spooky thing going on, but like I cared about these people. Like I kind of had that with Salem's Lot.
Yeah,
I found
that's a
it.
great example. He's
Yeah,
very good at like fucking like sitting out the supernatural till the second act, like, and just giving you a bunch of people that you can either identify with or like relate to, like people like that.
yeah, exactly. And like or like that growing up in that neighborhood, something like that. I feel
Yeah,
like that's especially I feel like that's especially why it hits so well for so many people, just because it really kind of like paints such a picture that so many people have had of like that specific
yeah,
kid feeling in the summer. type deal that like pretty much everybody has had that experience at some point, you know. So I feel like that's like with why that one like, you know, hits so specifically you know, for everybody.
I mean, like, flipping, if you look at what is stuff that doesn't have, that it isn't horror and doesn't have anything supernatural in it, like Stand By Me, it's the same first act as the horror ones.
Yeah, it like he's still taking like that same template, and I feel like with like kind of those movies, that was like him kind of being like, you know what, look, like I like, because I feel like he maybe made those ones if people were like doubting his storytelling abilities, which people do. People definitely like, you know, people love him and his ideas and stories, but like people have been criticism on his like actual writing of it. So like I feel like when he like did like those kind of movies or those kind of books, he was like, okay, I need to make something and not have to use like the horror concept as a crutch to like kind of prove to people that like, no, I can just write, you know, straight up good shit. You know, never knew that like, you know, the Shawshank Redemption, like that was one I didn't find out was a Stephen King thing until like way later after the fact. Because it just like didn't, like, even though like you said, like it does still have like those same beats in that first act, just without it kind of having the horror elements, it does kind of take you off for a minute.
Yeah, like Cthulhu could turn up in the second act of fucking Shawshank Redemption, and it makes sense. The one that caught me off guard that I didn't know was him until I was a bit older and the internet was a thing was the Running Man.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one either. But because again, like you know, he does have, you know, he dips his toe into sci-fi, but not all that often. So whenever his like sci-fi stuff is like very different, then he also has this whole, you know, fantasy side of his bibliography as well that really hasn't been adapted too much. They tried with the Dark Tower, but you know, nobody's really doing his fantasy stuff. So it's like he's got like, you know, so many other things besides horror, but you know, whether it has, you know, more horror elements or not, it's still always like kind of follows again the King formula.
Yeah, man. I believe Mike Flanagan's adapting the Dark Tower as a Netflix series at the minute.
I mean, that would make sense because I mean, Dark Tower is like a sprawling series, so it would make sense. I remember, I don't know much about it and I didn't see the movie, but basically people were saying like the movie was trying to like cram like stuff between like 3 different books into like one movie. And it's like, oh, like it's already hard doing one book. How are you going to do that? You know, so a series makes more sense. What do you think about people like Mike Flanagan, who, don't get me wrong, love him as a director, but like, you know, he's kind of made it his calling card now to keep adapting these Stephen King adaptations, even the ones that he's not, when he does Midnight Mass, is still basically Salem's Lot. So it's like,
it is, man.
Like he's a great filmmaker, but I'm like, hey, you're kind of pulling from this King well a lot. Like I would love to see him do like some non-King stuff.
Like all my favorite Mike Flanagan has been like non-King stuff. Haunting a Hill House. I really like Ouija Origin of Evil and all like
Oh,
it's
yeah,
the
yeah.
non-King stuff that I really like about Mike Flanagan. But I think he's like locked in there now, and it like, you know, when the biggest fucking horror guy comes calling, you kind of got to do the work. And like I see they're rolling, but it's not necessarily my thing. Like I wasn't too big on fucking Doctor Sleep, man. Fucking like, you know, it's a chick out of 4 non-blondes. Like I don't see her as a threat. You know what I mean?
I haven't watched Doctor Sleep yet. That one's I actually wanted to watch that before we did this episode, just like because it's been on my list for a while. And it's like I liked Gerald's Game. I thought that was a good one, but like I feel like the King ones kind of box him in a little bit. And, you know, because he has such reverence for King and like obviously like, you know, wants to show that love, and I can't blame him for that. But I feel like it does like kind of box him in because I'm like, you're your own guy, man.
I mean, like I feel like Midnight Mass was a lot better because like it's obviously like fucking like it's clearly Salem's Lot, but he's added all this extra shit into it. And like that's why he couldn't call it Salem's Lot. Like I think like because of like fucking, you know, if Stephen King's that guy who's going to say like, nah, Stanley Kubrick, fucking your film shit. Like, I'm gonna make Maximum Overdrive now. If you fucking got that fucking welly, and then like fucking, you know, you can't really fuck around with his properties like that. And like Mike Flanagan's got this relationship with him where like he can't fuck around, where like he's gonna do these enormous projects, but he can't be fucking around with them.
Yeah. You brought up Maximum Overdrive, which is King's sole directorial debut. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, the fucking Cocaine the Musical. Fucking
Literally.
It really fucking is, isn't it? Like, have you seen the trailer for it?
Yes, I've seen the trailer. It's so funny. And like you know, like and then we were reading so many of like the set stories whenever we covered it for the podcast, and like he would be like racing the crew on golf carts around the sets and shit, and just like being a complete maniac. And it's so funny because the movie like still somehow comes together. Like, I mean, it's not great, but like it's competent, and it is a film technically. And we just did an episode on Dream Remakes, and I was saying how I would love to see a current version of Maximum Overdrive with like not only, you know, updated for technological times now, but with a actual director behind it.
What they should do is just do like Maximum Overdrive set in the Fast and the Furious universe.
You know, you are fucking on to something there.
They've got mad enough to go supernatural in fucking Fast and the Furious. It's time.
Oh my god,
Get
it totally
Green Goblin fucking 18-wheeler.
It could totally like leak it. Like that would actually be like such a great transition to finally, get the Fast franchise like into some weird shit, because like it would totally be plausible in that world, and they could come up with, you know, first they can say it's like some nanotech bullshit, but then it's like no, they're just because what is in Maximum Overdrive? It's like a storm.
It's a comet passing. And
a comet. That's what it was.
Ludacris has already been to space. Fucking, he's got hoes where there isn't even an area code.
And then the fucking comet, and that would make so much sense, because even I still haven't watched Fast 10 yet, but in Fast 9, my favorite bit is Roman claiming that he's immortal, that he can't die, and it's like, well, that's everybody in this franchise except for, you know, the people that have died, but even they come back to life. So I thought that was
actually die in real life to like fucking die in a Fast franchise.
Yeah, so oh man, Fast and Furious Overdrive. Ooh,
oh my god, that's the one, man. That's the one. But yeah, like it's one of those like fucking, you know, obviously we don't want to like glorify drug use, and like, you know, but it like I see like fucking Stephen King's 1980s cocaine use in the same way that I see like the violence against animals in like Cannibal Holocaust, in that we probably never should do it again. But it's that fur coat argument. We don't need to kill any more chinchillas, but you can still appreciate how beautiful a fur coat is.
Oh, 100%. Like, I mean, it's very similar to musicians, you know, like I feel like we hear about that more with musicians than we do with writers. Like, I mean, I know like there's the alcoholic writer trope, but you know, like, but yeah, so many like musicians, you know, they come out with like the best album ever, and they're like, you know, how'd you make this? And they're like, oh, I was in like the worst spiral of my heroin addiction and blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, I never want that for you again, but like, you know, the result, you know, of kind of what it made. So yeah, with you know, I mean, I think that's again part of the only reason Stephen King could have been as prolific with the writing as he is. He wasn't fucking sleeping. It's so funny. He put out a tweet like a few months ago, and he was like talking about his process, and he's like, oh yeah, I would do, you know, set these page limits and blah blah blah. And I'm like, shut up, you were doing blow off your typewriter. You were not, you know, setting parameters for yourself. Like, you were probably writing for 47 hours straight, you maniac.
Yeah, writing like fucking books that are longer than any other book in the same fucking horror section, like in one sitting, absolutely raging, sweat streaming, fucking like with sweat that smells of yayo.
There's a legend has it. There's a direct correlation that the weight of the book is the same weight of the bag of blow that he had for it. You know, I don't know if that's true, but a legend.
It's not like that. The fucking like. Do you know what I think better than any fucking adaptation? I think might be the trailer for Maximum Overdrive, where he just turns and goes, "I've had all these films directed by a load of shit houses," and he's talking about fucking like Stanley Kubrick and Brian De Palma. So I had enough of it, and now I'm going to make my own film with a fucking like big truck that's got Green Goblin's face on it. Emilio Estevez is going to be it. It's going to be fucking boss. It's like the fucking sheer cocaine power off that, like.
It was like he was cutting a wrestling promo. You know, like I hear you out there, De Palma brother, but I'm gonna make my own now. Like that's basically like what he was claiming, and he's written the screenplays for a few films, but yeah, that's the only one he directed himself, and with them being like so many like adaptations, there's such a nice little spread of. We have Stephen King movies that are adaptations that are like, this is one of the best horror films ever. And then we also have like, you know, so many that just like, yes. And, you know, and are just, you know, absolute shit and then get forgotten about and then remade a second time or something like that, you know? So there's such a, like an interesting range between them. What's your favorite Stephen King adaptation?
I like the chaotic ones, man. I like the chaotic ones. I like the sequels to the chaotic ones. Too chaotic, man. But Children of the Corn 2. Have you seen Children of the Corn 2?
I haven't seen any of the sequels. I watch Children of the Corn every October, but I have not seen any of the 22 sequels that they have.
There's a lot. There's a lot. Like the first three. I like the original. And like the second one, like they've kind of like they started getting into daft kills, like, and there's like one like strongly like Wizard of Oz themed one where they drop a house on a woman, and like I think they're explicitly quoting the the sort of opening color section of like Wizard of Oz in it, and Children of the Corn 3 Urban Harvest. Is where they go to fucking Chicago, and there's not much corn in Chicago, like, so they've got a fucking crowbar all this fucking shit into it, and it's like Amish people in Cabrini Green, and like it's that level of chaos I appreciate. But it's an example of like I think the original Children of the Corn, you probably know more about this than me. But like I seem to remember that like he was originally writing the screenplay for that, and he got sacked off like writing the screenplay for his own adaptation because like the first 40 minutes were like the first like 40 pages were just the fucking the conversation on the car on the way into the fucking weirdo town.
Yeah, he because like that's an interesting one because like that was a short story, but then having having King to like kind of try to add more stuff into it. It makes for a very interesting one because like I said, like with the short story ones, it's always tough to like kind of expand those. And but that one has just like Children of the Corn just has like such a great spooky vibe. Like I like the like kind of desert town, like sans all these adults and like and like he who walks behind the rose is like such a cool like idea and name, but then just to know that the sequels go in such weird directions. I mean, because most of the sequels, because he doesn't really have too many sequels besides Dr. Sleep and like so like most of them don't have them. I mean, Pet Sematary 2, you called it out, like, because I've heard a lot of people say they like Pet Sematary 2 more than 1. I feel like they're like pretty even for me for their own different reasons, but I've always wanted to see like kind of some more sequels to some of these Stephen King films that like again, because then they can kind of take the story and then take it further. But I guess people are scared of the Children of the Corn effect.
Yeah. Like you say, like some of his shit's either like short stories where it's got to be like expanded and like what do you do with the expansion? Other stuff's got to be like all about the compression. Like Pet Sematary, I think is like a really interesting one. Like because that's what like I was going to say I read it. I listened to the audio book a couple of years back, And it's narrated by the guy who's Dexter, like fucking Michael whatchamacallit.
Oh,
And
Michael C. Hall.
yeah, it's like a really good thing. Like, but when you listen to like the audiobook of Pet Cemetery, you realize how much it had to be compressed because like so much of it, like 2/3 of this book is about the relationship between this guy who moves into this house and your old fucking Herman Munster guy over the road and their relationship. And like fucking like he like saves his wife, and that's why they form an eternal bond. And like there's this thing with them developing this like sort of father-son like relationship that they're just both missing from their lives. Whereas like in the film, fucking the dude goes, "Oh, your cat's dead. Grab a bin bag and a shovel and come up here. Watch this. It's fucking cool."
So, oh man, yeah, that's fascinating because that is such a like compelling relationship and like makes sense. And then yeah, in the movie, he is literally just the guy to kick off like all the events of everything. It makes him look dumb. You're just like, oh my god, why would you tell him that? Why would you tell him about this? But then whenever he does it, then you're just like, oh wait, no, you weren't supposed to do that. And it's like, well, then why'd you tell him about the fucking cemetery then?
Yeah, absolutely wild. Like so like what are some of your favorite fucking of his adaptations, Dan?
Yeah, so Christine was a first time watch when we did our Stephen King month, and I really, really enjoyed it. And even I've watched it again since then, and it's really grown on me. I think it's a really fucking fantastic film. It's one of Carpenter's best. It's like him. I love that him, quote unquote, being tame for this one is like, he kind of reels it in a little bit. And, Carpenter having to kind of work under this like studio thumb and, because they really needed him to like, bring this King adaptation so I could get the money from it. And kind of him kind of begrudgingly doing it, makes for like a very great film. And he changes quite a bit from the book. The book has more, leans, more into the supernatural, and that you get more backstory on the previous owner. And then it's, insinuated that the car, and then Arnie, he's like, his look is changing into like a more greaser look because he's like possessed by the original owner. So it's like Carpenter made a bunch of changes to it, but it still stands as like its own thing really well. And then we recently just did Carrie as well, and I'm a big Brian De Palma fan.
Yes, I'm with you. De Palma gang all day.
De Palma's that guy, man. I've been catching up on a lot of his filmography this past year, and like he's becoming one of my favorites. And Carrie is one of the funny ones too, where it got adapted twice, and like and we covered the 2002. Oh yeah, 3 times. Yeah, it got twice and then remade again. Yeah, which is just like kind of wild to me, that But again, it kind of speaks to the power of that story as well, and I feel like my favorites are the adaptations of like his earlier books seem to kind of be the ones that I enjoy the most.
Cocaine era,
baby.
We can say it. Fucking Cocaine Steve is when it was fucking popping.
Hey, it's Cocaine Steve. That was a cool guy. That guy was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I've really, and I mean, of course, Misery. You gotta shout out Misery. That one's an all-time banger. And I really, between it, if I like it, Chapter 1, the like 2017 one. Quite a bit, but then Chapter 2 is like kind of a mess. That's that was kind of debated, I guess, with the It miniseries. People love like the kid stuff, but didn't like the adults. But since they were like mixed in, it didn't feel as jarring, I guess, versus the way that they like split it, like completely for the later ones.
See, now, like flipping it, I think is something that would have been better if like Mike Flanagan was on it, like, because what was it like in Hill House they had in Haunting a Hill House, they also had that kind of like kids and adult sort of dual storyline thing going on, and like what his method was there, he got like the adults to hang around with the kids like beforehand, so they could like figure out what they'd be like as adults. instead of having like a load of kids trying to play one part and like adults playing another. I think that would have really worked. Like, but I thought like it fell right the fuck off with the second chapter.
Yeah, it was a tough one because like they get this, star-studded cast for the adults, and I feel like that, kind of hurt it because like with it chapter 1, like all those kids, yeah, they're all famous now, but before that, they were all unknowns, so it's like I feel like having these, big name stars, and then so you're already focused on it being them in the movie, but then you're also focused on them trying to play the kid or the adult version of this kid. And something just like, didn't connect with like most of them, like except for like James Ransone and like Bill Hader, like they felt like the kids. But the movie is just like, I don't know, like It Chapter 2 is just such a weird, it just felt funky. Like it just like, I don't know, something about it just didn't work. And like, so it kind of made me appreciate the adult portion of the miniseries more, because they at least like, even though like, the film itself was kind of cheesy, like they did feel very complimentary to their kid counterparts.
Yeah, I think it's something that has to be made together, like when you're doing those dual lines, like so having that miniseries format works, and like, but I think the miniseries being so good is like why we had so many Langoliers, and that like they were constantly trying to like redo the 2-part miniseries.
Yeah, and they were chasing that Salem's Lot high. Yeah, and then they like,
Salem's
like,
Lot. I cannot get over how fucking good that film is to this day.
It's that was another first time watch for me earlier this year, and I fucking enjoyed it. Like Hooper, going from it's such a like, it feels like such a stark contrast between like, watching the dirty grittiness of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then him making this dreamy small town vampire story. Like it just works so well. Hold on, what's it? Hey, stop that. Jeez. I got gremlins in the background, guys.
Yeah, man. It happens.
Yeah, but yeah, I really liked Salem's Lot quite a bit, and there was supposed to be again like another adaptation of it, and it like kind of like seemingly disappeared. It's kind of like a ghost mystery right now. Like people are like, what happened to that Salem's Lot movie? You saw that headline, right? And it's like so who knows if we'll see that, but I really like that miniseries.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like it's fucking like created a few like iconic things like about like vampires in general. Like the fucking kids hovering at the window. That's like an iconic thing, like, innit?
Yeah, and I mean, again, like that one, Salem's Lot, it again has like kind of the king tropes. It's based on a writer going back to his small town, and he has mystery and baggage in the small town, and and then now there's a supernatural thing, and he's gonna take it on himself to figure it out. So it's like, again, it's very much follows like the king template, but then but I like that Salem's Lot is one of the ones that kind of more overtly leans into the horror elements to it, with a kind of more visual angles to it, with the vampires, and like kind of the way that they like kind of infect the town with their, basically they just come in with a shit vibe and just like ruin the vibe of the town, is what the vampires do. And like so with him and his like small town stuff, like that just like works out so perfectly.
Yeah, it's like something he'll do like in other ways, like things like one of my favorite multis, Stephen King's Needful Things. Needful Things is like a very good mini series for that kind of vibe.
I haven't seen that one. That's one of my King blind spots.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the better mini series. Like that sort of concerns like someone opens an antique shop. It's an antique shop again that has like cool things. And like what you call it, you go in there and there's like there'll be an antique that'll be like something that you really want. And like when it work, yeah, and like
it's got Ed Harris, okay.
Yeah, and the guy goes, I don't want any cash, but you just got to do this favor for me. And it's like some kind of fuckery on another person in the town.
Okay. That's interesting. That almost sounds like something that like Yorgos Lanthimos would want to do or something.
Oh yeah, man. Fucking, he's got a new one out soon, innit? Fucking let's go. I'll tell you what's another. Have you seen A Return to Salem's Lot?
No, I haven't. I didn't watch that one, and that's another one where that's not a book, right?
Yeah. That's one that's like wholly original. With Larry Cohen directing,
Oh, okay, huh?
Yeah. It's like none of the same characters. It's just bowling up to the town of Salem's Lot, and things are still going on, and it's this journalist in it, and they're like the vampires are like officially running the place, and they're like bringing in this writer because like we need a bit of PR. Those vampires, we're pretty fucking cool.
So
And it's Larry Cohen directing that shit, man. You want to look at that, man.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to go into that one. And I'm surprised. Like, I mean, we're starting to get some more series, but not many of his adaptation or novels or books have been into series. Is there like because if you've read some of the books, are there any of the books that you think like would like make a good series? Because like I'd like to see like because again, since his work is like so dense, I always want to see like more of those.
That's the thing, though, because like a lot of them, like it is just like the fucking supernatural shit doesn't happen to the thing, so to the second act. So like if you stretched it out to a full series, you would just have to have like 5 episodes of like someone complaining at the fucking post office.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yeah.
I think, and especially like people today too. Like they need like shit to be happening like every episode of a series too. Like everybody's like, I need it, all gas. So like people, yeah, probably would tune out of those first like 3-4 episodes of people just doing in town shit.
Yeah. Like, I'll tell you what series it like the 6-episode series of The Stand. Did you catch that?
No, but that one was not too long ago, right?
There was a recent full series of The Stand. I haven't watched that, but the original like Mick Garris one from the 90s, like I watched it like when my girlfriend at the time came up from London, and it was like right at the start of COVID, and it was like literally like we were in the pub, and like the fucking landlord came out that night and said like, look, this fucking COVID thing means every pub's being shut down, so you've all got to go now. It was like that night we started watching the Stand series that weekend, and like the first episode of the Stand series is basically the Crazies. George Romero's the Crazies. And there's like a bunch of shit that happens after it, like, and there's all quests, and it all goes a bit like fucking surviving post-apocalyptic in the new world. But that first episode is just like fucking an infection getting out of a lab. And it was like a really interesting thing to watch on like fucking day one of COVID lockdown.
There was a 2020 version with James Marsden, Alexander Skarsgård. So that's kind of fascinating. I did watch The Outsider that came out back in 2020. That was really good. I think that did like a really great job of like kind of holding them because they introduce like like it's like kind of like you said like the first episode like hits you with a bang, and they really like hit you with some dark shit that like sets up like so you already get some horror stuff, but then it's like the first episode is like the human horror angle of it, and then you still get like then the supernatural horror starts creeping in more with each episode. And it's a creepy ass series and has one of the best scores I've ever heard. It is absolutely fantastic. So I do recommend The Outsider.
I might have to get on that one. That's going on the watch list. I do need another series at the minute. Like I need to have like 2 TV series on the go at the minute. I need something that's 20-minute episodes where I just get in bed. I just need to like watch something. I need another one that's hour episodes. Need something on the go at all times. I reckon The Outsider is going to be the next one.
Oh, that one's a longer one, and they are very slow. So I would recommend that would not be your bedtime series because it is actually a very long and slow series.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on that. We're coming up at about like 55 minutes about now. So what's it called? I reckon we'll wrap this up kind of soon. It's a bit of fucking ace combo. But fucking let people know where they can get at you, the socials, the what you call it, the fucking isht podcast, the fucking all the cool guest appearances. Where do people get more and they want more of DeVaughn?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, this was a nice little laid back conversation. I appreciate it. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd at _daddydisco. I do some photography things here and there. I've directed a few music videos. So I make stuff too on top of just chit chatting about movies. But that is my main thing. Is the Specter Cinema Club is a podcast I do with my buddy Garrett McDowell. And every month we pick a different theme or subgenre, and then we kind of pick apart movies, and the subgenres kind of guide our conversation in that way. So right now we're going to be doing a celebration of camp for Pride Month coming up.
Yeah,
we'll be doing. We've already done a Stephen King month, so if you do want to go back and listen to some of those episodes, those are in there and are pretty fun. And we do new episodes every Tuesday, and that's at Specter Cinema on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And I'm also a rotating panelist on the Pod and Pendulum podcast. There's like a stable of like 8 of us, and we all kind of take turns like doing different episodes in there. So we cover horror franchises like front to back in over there. And then you can hear me like you said, I sneak my way in and haunt any unsuspecting podcast I can. And next thing you know, I'm just chilling in your attic. So you can find me anywhere on the internet.
Hell yeah. Absolutely delighted to have you on. Thank you again, DeVaughn. You are an absolute G. I'm Kinell. This has been, once again, the KSC. You know what it is. Like, subscribe, all that YouTube bullshit that I can never be arsed saying. Peace!